Good morning. This is the second class of the third weeks with the topic of care as opposed to concern from the class of Science and Humanities. The first week, we introduce our whole classes and based on curriculums, and we discussed regarding fact and truth. So using fact and truth, we extend those ideas into the risk analysis as opposed to danger from the environment and with the system of a society at the second week. This is a third week, the first class of third week, and so we care as well as the concern. One paper published in IRLE from Harvard Law School, written by Lemgier. So this is the second class of the third week about the care and the concern. So I'd like to start with this sentence. I can understand what I am as I in the society. So this is simple sentence. And every word is straightforward. We can understand. We can know what that means in terms of terminology and words with the meaning, with the significance. But as we think of in detail more, in a deeper way, this is another simple sentence. We don't have to consider this one as the complicated one, but with the complexity. So I mean, I prefer to use terminology complex rather than complicated. So we are all being, existence, and Dasein, defined from the German philosophers mostly, Hegel and Kant, Heidegger as well. So you don't have to stick to these types of terminologies. This is whole existential words defined by area of the philosophy. So we know that from our everyday lives. So even if we do not know exactly the ontological or phenomenological definition of these words, but we know that from our everyday lives. So we, of course, you can refer to the philosophical reference book as I introduced in the curriculums, but we know this the words being as opposed to existence as opposed to being. So we are what we are, right? But we exist. How we exist? And through some kind of interactions, we exist. But without any interactions, without any communications, we still being. How about the entity, design? So even if you don't know about the design is a kind of, we do not know in Korean language this one, but different way we have, of course. But the design, it's a kind of existence and with and together with in the world. So we are ready to act. If we are ready to, ready to act and decide, and then we can be a design. So you are ready to decide what to do in the future regarding to your job and working and occupation. You are most likely at that moment the design. That's the existence, separate the existence, separate the existence of yours. So you have a different aspect. You can be a different person based upon environment, based upon circumstances, but you are still being. You can exist you can become a design. So from this sentence, I can understand. So I in the world. So I am in the world. So we are living in the world. To live, so we have to be I. So you can be other persons in the virtual game, but in real world you can be other persons. You pretend to other persons in movie, in the play, or you can play, okay, or you can present yourself to other persons with a different face. So we can be the multi existential the persons. So persons in Latin, etymologically, from mask. So we are masking right now, so we can mask other mask. So we show our mask as a persona, which is a person. Okay. So, but right after that, the showing and the playing as other persons, we can be coming back to where we started, as I am, as you are, as we are. So that's the I. Okay. So we never want to lose ourselves as I in the world. And then we can, or I can understand. Understand means toward the future. Based on knowing, based on analyzing, based on interpreting all we have, where we are, then we can understand our position in the future. So we can care. What I am means in the nature. So you know the nature. So what we need time to discuss fully about nature, but we know nature, what nature is, what nature means to us. So nature is not that simple, but we know. Okay, so without any further explanation and discussion, we know the nature. But in the nature or together with the nature, so we get along with tree and water, air, and other persons, some kind of a natural the principle and natural law, or together with Newton's law, together with the orbital law, together with entropy principles, we are living with the nature. And we finally, we concern. We concern. So we know the terminology of concern, right? We concern what they are, what they're doing in Myanmar, what they're doing in US. Last time we have a tragedy of a murder, right? We concern. So we care people, we care some other living organisms. Sometimes we care nature. I'm not sure we can care nature, but basically we can care world. Okay, but we concern very specific one to survive, to interact, to make something, to utilize something for us, for other persons. That's why the concern can be connected to the environment with the in as well as toward the society, towards the world, towards the other persons, towards university, towards my future, your future. Then we can project ourselves into our future. That's the basic definition of towards. So with this sentence, one basic sentence, we can understand a difference in definition between care and concern. Okay, let me take another examples. Right, at this time tree. So as opposed to we are human being, but tree is not human, but the living organisms. They have a life. They have a life, still have life. But tree can be wood. Okay, so let me write down this sentence. Tree can be wood, and there can be substances through fire. What do you mean by that? So when we observe tree, we can recognize it is tree from our experience, from our knowledge, from our sense, based on our sense. We can touch, we can see, we can smell, and then we recognize tree is a tree. But how you identify the tree can be wood, 장작, wood. So if we burn the wood, so the tree through wood represents its a symbol, represents its a character, represents its a property using what? Fire. So we observe the fire, it is then we recognize it is wood out of a tree. That's the substances. So when I look at your face through Zoom, or when I see you person in person, face to face, how can I recognize your character as a substances? How can I recognize your substances? I have substances. You have substances. How we identify our substances, each other? So tree through fire. So tree represent their property of fire to be burned, and then tree shows its substances through fire. But how can I show my substances to you? Using our language, using our emotion, using our logic to give some kind of a logical explanation of a DNA to other persons through paper. That's the substances. So tree is a being in the world. Like we are being in the world. The tree can be the being in the world. So tree can be wood. They exist to interact with others. The tree can be wood to interact with the others, sometimes to provide us the fire. That we define the different tree with the terminology of substances, right? Substances in and with the nature. Through fire. So to make a fire out of a tree, we need oxygens. We need some kind of the spark. So that's what we call that as environment. So we use a certain spark and match to bring a fire into the wood under specific conditions, specific environment. So then we can understand, or we can differentiating different definition between and among world, nature, and environment. So this is a simple, but I fully understand that this is not sometimes easy at all to fully understand. But the purpose of my bringing the topic of care and a concern into this class of this week is to help you, or to ask you to use these two different words under different conditions in right way, in scientific way, based on our understanding of logics, logics, and the philosophical and sometimes scientific words. So we use a lot of the words differently, but translation from Korean, translation from Kazakhstan to English to Korean to Mongolian, and very difficult. But if you fully understand the basic idea, undergrounding theory behind the language, behind the words, behind some kind of understanding, we can use this one without too much difficulty. I believe that's why I selected this issue, this class. Okay, care versus the concern. This is a major topic. So let me ask you, do your parents or best friends care or concern you? With that, in the dictionary with Merriam and Webster's, so care can be defined to feel anxiety and the like, provide care. Meanwhile, concern can be defined by relating to. What is relating? What is relate to you? So we know the categorical concept, right? So that's why I already introduced to you from the book and the table of a category from the Kant's. Relate can be divided into three different ones. What are those? So remind of yourself. We already studied a couple of times. Relations. Third category of the categorical of a concept from the Kant. The first one, inherence. The second one, causality. Third one, community, right? So inherence, subsistence, and causality, cause and result, and community. Community means complex. So we relate each other with the complex. So we don't know exact code what that can relate between us with some kind of a code, even if the code is not revealed, code is always hidden. So we are difficult to see, to recognize what codes make us, provide us with some kind of realities, actualities. But we know that we believe it is. There is one cause to make us to come together to make a community. So that's the relation of a third relations and involved. Then getting back to my question, do your parents or the best friends care you or concern you? What do you think? Do you think I, as an advisor and the faculty of the UNIST, care the students, care you in my class? Or can I, oh, no, do you think I concern you? So that's the big difference. That make a big difference between two languages when being used in this sentence. I think your parents and your best friends care you instead of concern you. But probably I concern. Of course, I would like to care you, but I also concern you because I have to evaluate you, or I can show you some kind of a rope toward the world in the future. Otherwise, you cannot be. So because this is a university and this is class, so I'm responsible for guiding some kind of a rope to you to make it stronger, to deliver some kind of a knowledge to you. So that's why I have to, even if I care you, but I have to concern. Okay, because through relations, we have a relations, but your parents and your friends, even if they have some kind of a relation to you, but that's the more likely inherent instead of a causality and community. But you and me have a relation based on what? Some kind of a community base, academic community, right? I still care you, but I concern you as well. So that's the big difference between us. Okay, for example, let me write down this kind of the sentence. My parents and the best friend can care me. They concern me as well. Okay, what do you think? So there is no right answer. There is no rigid right or wrong answers. So a whole up to you, depending on you. So you decide the care, you decide the concern. It's up to you. And I care about my parents and the best friends. I concern one of the faculty member. I concern my president of UNIST. What do you think? You concern the president of the Korean government. You concern the president of UNIST. You concern the faculty advisor, your friend. So everything is depending on situations you are in. Okay, so this is once again journal site of IRLE. So they show this screen to show their intention, their will. Okay, please look at this word. Expression of what? Care? Expression of care? No. Expression of concern. So on 9th and March in 2021, regarding article published in International Review of Law and Economics on December 1st, we discussed already, title Contracting for Sex in the Pacific world. Okay, so they show their policies based on their philosophy, based on their care? No, based on their concern. Please look at the last sentence. They already published online version, and then please look at the last sentence. The printed issue of the journal, including above article, which is this, from Mr. Lemgier, will be released once issue is complete. Okay, that's their philosophy. Okay, personally, I have still the comrade and the friend in the Elsevier and my journal. This is why I stepped down. I already mentioned. So this is a concern. Okay, but we concern as well. I concern personally. They concern in their own way, but I concern in my own way. So that's the conflict. So truths are different, even with one fact. Okay. To deciding what is wrong, what is good, what is good or what is ever is a different issue. That's the ethical morality issues. We are not get at yet. So we are discussing in a few weeks. But right now, we know fact to some degree. We know the truth based on our belief. So with this example, with these vaccinations, with the climate emergency, so we concern. So you have to concern. Your care is not enough in the world, as being in the world. With the nature, with the environment, you have to concern. Okay, so my question, another questions. Do we care or concern extinction of a polar bear or fear of polar bear on the climate emergency? What do you think? So please think of this one in more detail, in more deep logical interpretations of yours. Second question, do we care and concern carbon emission from diesel car or uses of a diesel car? Okay. So we can make a lot of different questions. So participation one, write up, give me your sentence of Myanmar, using care versus concern. At the topic, please open the app of a Street Smart and the first the participation. So I count your attendance and the participation as well to be evaluated for your grading. So please write a sentence at the app, the specific marks 18th, the topic. So give me a sentence of Myanmar once again. So you know the situation is Myanmar right now. Using care as opposed to concern. Okay, please. I can give you approximately 5 minutes to write down your sentence. So Im Jung-gyu asked me, you can define the differently from mine, which is here. So it is impossible to deny we are being in the world. Without a world, we are still being. What do you think? It is not certain yet, but sometimes it may be possible to answer. Because without world, we are still being. So please imagine. So nature, what is nature as opposed to world? All nature is a word, right? But not all world is nature. Okay. We can be being in the world, but we can negate our being in the nature. So nature, what is nature? So we believe we all know about nature and character of nature, but it is not easy at all. So we live together with the nature. Sometimes we believe we against the nature. Okay. As a human, because we are human, we do not care nature, but we accept as it is. Because nature is of its own, on its own. So water flow as it follows the law of natures. Liquid flow, liquid water flows from the higher to the lower. But vaporized water actually evaporated from the top to the sky, depending on natural law. That we think we can concern the nature. Do you think? What do you think? We can concern the nature? Think about it. Sometimes we think it is possible to concern nature, but sometimes as we deeply think of nature, it seems impossible to concern the nature. So it's up to you. And that much world and nature is difficult to be defined to get at deeper side of this, the two characters. So let's do the environment. We have options to select. With the environment, as opposed to world and the nature, we always react to, act against. So we have an option to select under the environment. Nature and environment can be transformed into each other. So nature, once nature, with the nature, then we can use this one to be our tool, to be our resources. That's why we selected this one as an option to transform nature into our environment. We as a human are being in the world, can be being in the nature and decide to be being in the environment. So complicated, I know that, but please understand to use words and nature and environment differently, depending on your situations. Okay, So there are a couple of questions for us to have to understand the world, nature, and environment differently. Is a polar bear a world? Is a polar bear nature? Is a polar bear environment? Is extinction of a polar bear world? Extinction, 멸종, is polar bear nature? Is extinction of a polar bear environment? How about the carbon emission from the diesel, our usage of the diesel car? With these questions, we can care or we can concern polar bear and the diesel car. In terms of what? In which directions? Under different conditions. Okay, so we care fire from the wood, from the tree as a substances? Probably not as word, but as environment. So it's up to you. So you criticize and interpret what we have with these types of terminology differently, then we can use based on your interpretation, based on your understanding. We concern fire. Of course, we can concern the fire from wood and forest because that fire increase the temperature, increase air pollutions. We concern. But once again, coming back to where we started with this, the questions, we care fire, is kind of difficult to answer straightforward. Okay. We, tree, and fire to make one sentence together with these types of concept. So we care tree because it may be word, but we do not care fire. We study tree, nature. We do not care fire, but we concern fire with the tree. So it's a sophisticated expression. I agree, but so every scientific the paper, even political paper and sociological paper, they use very complicated logics. But if you understand words, word, nature, environment, then we can actually understand what they means. So we are already exposed to very complicated paper from the Harvard Law School, right? So we have to understand the differently world versus nature and environment. So that's my intention in asking you to understand the differently among these types of different terminology with a different meaning. That's why we can bring significance to these types of a topic for us to deal with understanding our future against those intentions. And we care to live. We care because we would like to live. We think of nature, right? We think of nature. Instead of care, we concern to select something to be utilized, to be something for others, for our society. That's the environment. So nature is a kind of we have to use in the plus with, but environment we can use together with the in, with, as well as towards, because we project us onto the environment, into the society. So we can duplicate ourselves into environment. We cannot actually project into world, but we can project ourselves onto the surface of environment. So that's the big difference, I believe. Okay, participation 2. So write up your sentence of the climate emergency using care or concern and world or nature and environment. Please, I can give you 5 more minutes. Okay, so I bring this to help you to understand between the definition difference in definition between care and concern. So this is a cyborg or zombie? Cyborg or zombie? This is zombie, right? And do you think a zombie care and concern? What do you think? This is my question. This the probably help us to understand better about the different definition between care and concern. Zombie care and concern. What do you think? Can zombie die? Are they dying? So when we watching the movie of zombie, for example, the Bando in the Busan Hang, do you think zombie care each other? Zombie care us? Zombie care the world? What do you think? Zombie is still being, I believe, in the world and together with nature even, but they don't care or they don't concern. So very interesting question, I believe. So please think of that even after this class. What does it mean by death, by zombie? How you understand our death as a human being? So you have a definition of a death, I believe, but zombies' death should be different from ours. How about this cyborg? We are kind of a cyborg. Somebody actually defined human being in digital society. As a cyborg, we are equipped with the handphone, equipped with the computer and software, a lot of different apparatus. Even with this class, we equipped with some kind of Zoom technology from IT. Then we can communicate. Without Zoom, without the computer, without network, we cannot communicate at all. So probably we are cyborg to communicate. So as a cyborg, we care each other, we concern each other. Can cyborg die or are they dying? What does it mean by death to cyborg? So as opposed to zombie, so then we explain or interpret what the cyborg is. So accepting us to be being cyborg instead of a zombie, then we have to define. So from our discourse previously with the care and concern, so we all again introduce our sentence into these types of example with the climate emergencies and polar bear and the fire as a cyborg. What do you think? So this is kind of a difficult question, but necessary questions to us to understand our being, to understand our existence, to interact with the other persons, to live together with nature, based on natural law, and a concern to act to the society and environment. That's why I bring this the cyborg issue into this class. Okay, think of this one. What is a cyborg? Using care and concern and world, nature, and environment. Think of that. Please write down and give me very short answer even. with the cyborg? Please. With this issue with the cyborg, so from your sentence provided at the app of Street Smart, you show some kind of a negative feeling, negative definitions. So about the cyborg. A cyborg cannot have and does not have any emotions, certain things. So a cyborg can confuse the world, so on and so forth. So you may be, you can be, of course, you can be negative with this cyborg, but accepting we are cyborg equipped with IT. For example, so we have iPhone of Galaxy and LG and iPhone. That automatically define us as a negative being, to not have any emotion, negative communication with other persons. So please think of that. So with the book I already introduced to you in the Korean language, so the title cyborg가 되다. So we became a cyborg. So the two authors selected a disabled person equipped with IT and apparatus equipment supported by the IT technology. So then we can communicate it further into with a new reality, the version of the world with the help of the IT technology. Okay, so it's all up to you. So I bring only to help you to think better or more about the cyborg, because we are now becoming and more, if you agree, and cyborg existence, cyborg being. So we still think, we still sense, we still communicate, we still make a concept. So that's my message to you. So I think, and I act as being, as existence. I care myself, of course. I care myself, you care yourself. I analyze character of I. I concern future of I. So you agree? So I am, I think, I act. So once again, I care myself, I analyze character of I concern the future of I. So I wrote this sentence based on my understanding. I care myself because I am in the world. I analyze my character because I can think. I concern my future because I am able to act and select. Okay, what do you think? We can care, we can analyze, we can react to the nature because we can think. We concern my future. We concern our future because we have a right. We have to select some kind of options out of many different ones, instead of following the fixed norm, fixed custom, fixed law. Okay, that's my message always from the first week of this class. So we have a fact, but we have to believe differently. But our customs, our traditions, our law always kind of force us to behave in a certain way. Okay, so probably we are cyborg, we equipped with the law. Probably we equipped with the customs, traditions, norms, and frame. But we have to, probably we want to escape from the frame, law, customs, and traditions, existing, what I'm saying is restrictions, okay, mannerisms. With the help of the IT technology, artificial intelligence sometime, but not necessary, But even with those help from the IT technology, we can be free actually. But we don't have to stick to. We don't want to be addicted to that technology. But even accepting we are cyborg equipped with IT technologies, so we extend our dimension of material to make a certain fact, to believe better, to make a concept, to transfer to our next generations, to change our world, to open new horizons. Okay, why not? Why not? Of accepting us as the cyborg sometimes. So we concern still. If someone care yourself who is being in the world of their truth, not yours, for example, laborer at Samsung, or laborer of Amazon, laborer of the government person employee. So we witnessed so a lot of misbehavior from the government-owned company like LH, right? Recently. So then we free ourselves because we are human to care other persons and ourselves as well. But we have to conserve. We have to conserve. If you concern yourself who is being in the world of the Samsung, of the Amazon, of the Tesla, of the government person as well. Okay, this is the last one. Provide your sentence, short and bio resume at the app Street Smart using I, care, concern, word, nature, environment. Optionally, you can use fact, truth, risk, danger as well. But please provide your bio. Okay. So this week, third weeks with the topic of the care and the concern. So we try to understand these two different distinct terminology with the significance. So we try to develop our understanding and to be extended into the sentence. So employing those two concepts and together with the word, the nature, and environment. So then we can use these types of utilization of the words together with the last issues, including fact, truth, and risk, danger. Okay, thank you for your attention. Thank you for your attention. I really appreciate for your active the participation with this app. So we are developing this app, as I told you. We can modify this one if you give me your comment, some kind of inconvenience you experience with this app. We can modify for you for this class. Okay, thank you for your attention and see you next week. We don't have any assignment this week, and to give you more freedom to think of Lamjier's the paper and topic of the concern. Okay. Good day. Thank you. Thank you very much.